You are listening to Life with Jason Clemmons, DC, on this absolutely beautiful Friday, March 1st. Man, it is a good-looking day in Lubbock, Texas. It's been a beautiful day so far. What a great way to start off a month. I'm sure we're going to get some wind, and that's common around here. All of the people that live in Lubbock, it's kind of what we do to keep all the rest of the people that we don't want yet to come to Lubbock out. We had a ball game on Tuesday against the Longhorns, which was perfect weather. It was absolutely perfect weather because the wind was blowing. The skies were brown. It was just like dust in the air everywhere. And we always get a lot of grief from people around the state that says, "Why do you guys live up here in this stuff?" And we couldn't have had a better day for the Longhorns to come to town because they did, and they got to see all that dirt, and it just made them want to go back home. And so, hey, it was fantastic. And now look at us. Blue skies, beautiful day, sunshine, great to be here. So it's, sometimes life just works out your way. And that worked out perfectly this week. Hope you guys have had a good week. We have. This show is going to be tonight. We're going to bring you information about just some thoughts that might have a little bit of a female side to them. Maybe some thoughts for the ladies on some things. And I'm by no means an expert on ladies. I can promise you that right there. But maybe we can bring some information to you tonight that we talk about, and some of the things that we talk about with the ladies that might help you out. So if you guys will stick around with us, we'll bring that to you. We've had a good week. We've had good conversations. We had Shaylee on the show on Tuesday. We've broken down some thoughts about nutrition. I got into some things last night about statin drugs and all that sort of thing. And so if you guys want to go back, you can check those shows out at the Rock Health and Wellness Center's Facebook page. Sometimes they're on the Walk by Faith Facebook page. And you can also catch us at Health from the Rock on YouTube. And you can find us on Twitter at Dr. Jason Clemmons, I believe. Let me on X. Let me see what it is here. At Jason Clemmons DC. That's what it is. At Jason Clemmons DC. If you want to watch us on Twitter, and so we're out there. Any of our shows I leave them on, especially on the YouTube channel at Health from the Rock. You can go back and listen to any of the things that we talk about if you're interested in some of the health and health topics that we have talked about. One thing I want to remind everyone, number one, if you have any questions during the show, after the show, and you would like to send me a text, our text line is 806-794-0400, and you can send me a text, and I'll be glad to get back with you just as soon as possible. And I'll answer some of the questions during the show, and I'll answer some of the questions after the show. You can also send me messages on social media and send it right to I should get them during the show if you're interested in that, or you can just make comments and I'll check them later. I'll get the notifications and I'll check them later, and then I'll answer any of the questions that you have from that standpoint. Another thing I want to remind everybody about is our page. Let me see if I can bring it up here for you. Yeah, it's right there. So the Rock Health and Wellness, it's the rock.standardprocess.com. The rock.standardprocess.com is our personalized page with Standard Process. That's the supplements, a lot of the supplements that we use right here in the office. And so if you guys want to just get those supplements yourself, you can go to the rock.standardprocess.com anywhere in the world, and you can get you good quality supplements. I've said this before, but I think that's a 900-acre organic farm right there. Never use pesticides, all that sort of thing. It's clean. It's good stuff. And you can just find your product on there. They'll ship it right to your house. If you're wanting to do that. If you want, we always recommend when you do that, that you at least consult us if you'd like. or let me just say, I'd be glad to visit with you about any of the products that they have on there. If you'd like to have someone that you can talk to before you take any of the supplements. But just wanted to remind everybody about that. It's the rock.standardprocess.com. And if you'd like to get your own standard process, then feel free. You can get it right there, and they'll ship it right to you. So that's just something that I just wanted to kind of remind everybody. If you want information about our office, you can go to the rock.health, or you can go to the rockhealthandwellnesscenters.com. And the rock.health is kind of an internal website that we use for a lot of the things that I'm just trying to share with you, a lot of education and some of the things that we do in the office. That's the rock.health. And then the rockhealthandwellnesscenters.com is what we've used, just kind of our main website. So if you want to learn a little bit about us or what we do here at the Rock, those are ways to get a hold of us. So I want to touch quickly, and I don't want to stay too long on this, but I do want to touch just a little bit quickly about last night, because I did talk about this. I got into the statins, and I want to just make sure. I want to make sure that I am very clear that I'm not telling you to take a statin or not take a statin. I am simply talking to you about the biochemistry of what statins do in the body and how they change other areas of the body. And I found my statin notes, and I just wanted to show them to you. You guys listening to the radio will kind of walk you through on this, but I wanted to show them to you because, before I started studying it, no one showed me this. I didn't have anybody that walked me through what the pathways were in this whole, the biochemistry we took in school and all that sort of thing, but I didn't know it before I went to chiropractic school. And if I hadn't gone to chiropractic school, I would have been just like everybody else. Probably on a statin by now. To be quite honest with you, at 53 years old, I'd probably be on a blood pressure medication and a statin right now, and maybe some sort of acid reflux blocker if I would have stuck with the pathway that I was on early in life. And so I would have been just like everybody else. I actually went to a wedding one time, or actually when my brother got married, and I was sitting around in the lobby with all my cousins, and my cousins were talking about all the medications that they take. And I just was like, this is crazy. But they're just doing it just because they don't know any better. And who knows any better, right? Unless you happen to catch someone that talks about health, like if you follow Dr. Hyman, or you listen to Andrew Huberman, or you listen to Jordan Peterson, or you listen to some people that talk about health, and there's thousands of them out there that talk about health. If you were somehow stumble on something like that, then you would you might get there too. But I just wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you this pathway, because this is where we start off and how we make cholesterol, and it's a complicated, long, it's a complicated pathway. And last night we kind of got into it a little bit, and I just want to make sure that you're seeing this right here. And so, but I want to show you how long this pathway is, and then I want to show you where that statin drug comes in and stops the thing. So glucose gets. Now here we go. We're just going to start breaking down glucose. We got all of these different things that are taking place. Now we're going to bring it in here, take it into this process right here. We're going to follow this. This is this HMG-CoA right here. This that we're fixing to get in. I was working on this word, mevalonate, right? That's what takes us on down, and then we just keep going. And look how long this thing is. It just keeps going, and then it keeps going, and then it comes on down, and then we come down here, and now we've got cholesterol. But that pathway keeps going, and the pathway keeps going. And so right up here in the biochemistry of all of it, at the top of it, and you guys on the radio, you can go back and check this out later, but this is all I'm doing is showing the pathway of how they make it. But right here in the middle, HMG-CoA, right there is where statin drugs kick in. And it's got the whole list of I can't read them, they're really small. Atorvastatin, lovastatin, mevastatin, prevastatin, simvastatin. All those right there, what they do is they stop HMG-CoA from turning into mevalonate. They block that process. They reduce the process right there, and then everything down the line from there gets cut off. And in a way easier way of looking at it right there would be this one. And this is the metabolic pathway at a glance right here, by J.G. Salway. So this is chapter 32, cholesterol, bile acids, vitamin D, and steroid hormones. So here's that glucose. It goes through this whole process right here. Here's this HMG-CoA now here we introduce the statins, and that's where we start to get this HMG-CoA reductase. Now this whole thing is starting to get blocked, and it just goes down, and you get that mevalonic acid, and then 10 more steps. On step 10, it comes over here to step 11, and that's where it makes CoQ10 for your heart. Mitochondrial respiratory chain. That's what that's used for. But that gets reduced on the statin, right? So now you come down here and you go across to step 11B, and you get neuropeptides and glycoproteins, and that's stuff that your body needs. Now you come down here to step 11, and you'll get to step 30, and then you get vitamin D biosynthesis. And then step 32, you get cholesterol. But then you get, what do you make from cholesterol? Well, you make bile salts, bile acids. That's what helps you break down fats. And that's super important, because, and I'll take us to a different article here, just real quickly, just so you can kind of see what happens right there, and what exactly is a bile salt, and why is that important. So bile salts are synthesized from the cholesterol in the liver. Process of bile acids biosynthesis from cholesterol is shown in this scheme. So there's the scheme right there, and here's the pathway, and this is all biochemistry, and I know you guys aren't interested in biochemistry on a Friday night, but it's how your body works, right? So there's these pathways are going through there, and you need that cholesterol to make the bile salts, is basically the point I'm trying to make with that. And you could come up here to the top, and it's like, among the most important physiological properties of bile salts are lipid transport. They help things go through membranes, because they're what they call amphipathic. They like water and they don't like water in the same molecule. So depending on which end of the molecule is the bile salts, is how you might absorb that. Helps absorb it through the cell wall and get nutrition into the cell, or get things into the cell. Of course, they have to talk about it from this standpoint: transport of some drugs through hydrophobic barriers. Bile salts have been extensively studied to enhance transepithelial permeability for different marker molecules and drugs. Of course, they're studied for drugs, but they help move things throughout your body, so they're very important. And you store that bile. You store bile in your gallbladder, so that whenever you eat a fatty food, you can squeeze that bile into the small intestine, and then you can help yourself absorb that food. So it's very important that we have bile salts. And there's a few other things right here that goes along with that. 8 more steps to produce estrogen. So we need this whole process to produce estrogen. 7 more steps to produce aldosterone, right? Aldosterone is one of the things that helps us absorb salt. It's one of the things that helps us keep our blood pressure regular in the middle of the night, so that we don't have a lot of blood pressure crashes. I wonder if we studied a lot of this stuff, if we would think about, sleep apnea is a big deal. A lot of people have sleep apnea. And I wonder how many people I wonder how many people have sleep apnea that are not regulating themselves because of their stress levels, that they'll have some sort of cortisol spikes in the middle of the night, which is an adrenal gland issue because their stress response happens in the middle of the night. And at the same time that we release cortisol, we release the aldosterone. And so we want to keep our cortisol is going to keep our blood sugar up, and aldosterone is going to keep our blood pressure up in the middle of the night. I wonder if we're messing that stuff up. I wonder if we're messing up estrogen right here. 6 more steps to cortisol. There's your cortisol. There's your aldosterone. Both of them made from cholesterol. Remember? So we talked about that last night, about being stressed out. 7 more steps to testosterone. So how many people are low in testosterone? How many people are stressed out with cortisol? How many people have ever heard of adrenal fatigue? Right? I wonder why there's adrenal fatigue, and I wonder what the adrenal gland is fatiguing for. What is the deal that's going on with those two things? And when the body does steal the cholesterol, whatever's left of it, because we've taken the statin up here, we inhibited the pathway, and now we're down here to the cholesterol step, but we have less cholesterol because we've inhibited the pathway. And we've inhibited the pathway to cortisol and to testosterone and to estrogen. But remember what we talked about last night. Which part of it is your body going to do the most? If it had the choice between reproduction or fight or flight, what will take precedent? Fight or flight will take precedent, right? Fight or flight's going to take precedent over reproduction whenever you're stressed out. So if you're stressed out and you have decreased your amount of cholesterol, now what you're going to do is your body's going to steal that cholesterol to make cortisol, and you're going to lose the ability for estrogen, testosterone, aldosterone, and bile salts. And so that's not healthy, right? That's not what you want. What you'll end up with is taking the statin for your cholesterol and then taking something else for your hormones or your digestion, because of the disruption of what's going on right there. So just wanted to let you see it. I just wanted to let you see the steps in case I hadn't let you see the steps before, just so that you kind of know that, and we can go from there. So that's covers last night. That gets us off that. We're off and running now, and let's go on to the things that I wanted to talk about tonight. The first thing I wanted to talk about tonight is now I'm going to be very transparent about this. This is not my field of expertise, even though I probably should study this way harder than I do. But I just wanted to share with you a supplement. I wanted to share with you a supplement that is has made a profound impact in our house. Right? Leslie is 52 years old, and women that go through their early 50s, they start doing that whole menopause thing, right? So we've got some hormones, we got some hot flashes, we got some changes in things, and there is a supplement that that I want to talk about. In case you have never seen this before, let me find it right here. Yes, that's it right there. And make sure you can see it. Yeah, that's the one right there. And it's the brand is Feminescence, and it's Maca Life. I don't know if we've talked about it on the show. I just wanted to share it with you in case you've never seen it before, because it's made a huge. It's been great at our house. It's been great for Leslie. It's been great to help her balance her hormones as she's going through all the transition in her life. But Feminescence Maca Life has the highest success rate in published clinical trials of any perimenopausal herbal supplement in the world, and is the only one to demonstrate statistically significant effects on hormones. Now, this comes from their website and their research, so understand that. But I just wanted to tell you, it works for 8 out of 10 women within 2 days to 8 weeks, the first box, with the majority within 3 weeks, and addresses the root cause of hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings, and other menopausal symptoms by balancing your body's own hormone production through the hypothalamus. Most women see significant improvements in the first box with even greater health benefits after 3 or 4 months, which is 2 boxes. And we don't run out of Macalife at my house. And there's different versions of it. There's the perimenopausal. There's the postmenopausal. It's a different box right there, and it's great. So for the ladies out there who might be going through some of that, who might be dealing with that, just you may have heard of it. I know you guys study this subject very in depth, and so this might not be new to you. You may know all about Macalife, but for those of you who've never heard of it or didn't know it existed, we got it from Nature's Tonic out there. Brett out at Nature's Tonic is the one that showed it to us. And Leslie started it several years back, and has managed to go through, she's managed to go through the entire process without hormone replacement. She's not doing any of that stuff, and she hasn't taken any hormones whatsoever. She's managed it just fine. There were hot flash days, and it wears her out. I'm not saying that, but she's handled it very good, and she's helped right here. Some of this has helped us. So I just wanted to show you this. It's Feminescence. It's basically feminescence.com is where you can find it, or you can go to, if you're here locally, you can go to probably any of your nutrition stores, and you can find it. And that's what you're looking for is the Macalife. So I think it's something that is very useful. And so I wanted to talk about just a little bit of some of the science that they have. And of course, this is on their page. So you'll have to just accept that part of it. And but I thought I'd show you this paper, and it can kind of explain to you a little bit about where it comes from, what it's all about, and so you can kind of get a feel of it. So the introduction: up to 85% of women in peri and postmenopause experience a variety of symptoms ranging from hot flashes and night sweats to sleep disturbances, mood disturbances, loss of libido, weight gain, and vaginal dryness. Hormone replacement therapy, which includes using estrogen or a combination of estrogen and progestin, became popular in the 1960s after the release of the book Feminine Forever, and was the therapy of choice for relieving menopause-related symptoms in Western cultures for many decades. Into the 80s and 90s, other late-onset disease or conditions such as osteoporosis, cardiovascular events, and neurological decline were connected to the loss of hormones, and therefore guidelines were enacted for the use of hormone replacement therapy as a prevention therapy for these chronic diseases. As a result, the movement had now shifted from Feminine Forever to Healthy Forever. By 2001, 42% of American women aged 50 to 75 were taking hormone replacement therapy. 42% of the women, that's 4 out of 10 are taking that. Not just for hormones, but for prevention of chronic disease. However, this trend shifted when the results of the Women's Health Initiative study was ended, early reporting that women who used combination hormone replacement therapy, estrogen and progesterone, were at an increased risk for developing breast cancer and coronary heart disease, while those using estrogen-only therapy were at increased risk for stroke. Sales of Premarin and Prempro, two common forms of hormone replacement therapy, dropped drastically from 2002 to 2003 to the WIH findings, 33% and 66% respectively. So one thing I'd like to point out right there is how the drug of the day, the hot drug of the day, ends up being taken off the market, or the sales drop or whatever, when all the side effects of that drug ends up showing up, right? And that's the same. That's what I'm saying about the statins. That's the same thing I'm going to say about Ozempic and all that stuff. It's the same thing that like Vioxx and Celebrex was the thing, right? Vioxx got taken off the market, but at one point it was the hot stuff. It was the cure-all answer. It was the thing that everybody turned to, right? And so I just wanted to point that out because at one point in the 80s and 90s, it was huge. Everybody was taking it. And then all of a sudden, it just dropped off. However, let's see, hormone replacement therapy, including bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, are exogenous forms of hormones introduced to the body rather than hormones being produced by the body. Often, medically prescribed hormones are given in large amounts and once during the day in oral form, topically, or as a pellet under the skin. This approach contradicts the body's mechanisms of secreting hormones in adequate flow. We're coming up on a break on the radio, so I'm going to we're going to take a break. We'll be back right after these messages. You're listening to Life with Jason Clemmons, DC, and we will continue talking about some women's health problems. Issues, not problems. Challenges, whatever we want to call them. I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. And you guys out there, like I said, this is coming right off this is a paper that was written. The authors are Kim Ross and Diana Minchik, PhD. But this is off of their research. So I'm just trying to share this information with you in case you don't know it. You guys may know it. All you guys has been through it. You may all know it, and it might be something that is just new for me on a Friday. So, but I just wanted to kind of just give you a little bit of history about it because sometimes I don't think we talk about the history enough, and just so you can kind of have an idea about, because I think that's a huge statement right there. That's the same thing that I say. Like about flu shots and all that sort of thing, is like, how does your body respond? And do you have a Th1 or a Th2 response, which is the different ways that your immune system responds to some sort of virus, right? So when we're going to go get a shot, we're going to create one type of immune response versus if we were to actually have to deal with that virus. How do you get a virus, right? Where do you get it from? You get it in your nose. You get it in your mucous membranes around your eyes and your nose and your ears. And that's really the place that you mostly get and pick up a virus and get that virus into your body. Sometimes you can breathe it, but you're and it gets respiratory and you have to fight it that way. But a lot of times we pick those viruses up that way. So how do we present that virus to our immune system to get our immune system to respond to that virus? Right? Those are important. Those are important steps that we should go through and understand. And when we're doing it this way, we're not giving the body those hormones in the way that they actually would use them. So hang on, let me get back on the radio. Okay, everybody, we're back. And we're talking about some Maca life right now. And so we were talking about hormone replacement therapy are exogenous forms of hormones introduced to the body rather than hormones being produced by the body. Often medically prescribed hormones are given in large amounts and once during the day or in oral form, topically, or as a pellet under the skin, right? This approach contradicts the body's mechanisms of secreting hormones in adequate low amounts as they are needed throughout the day and in proper amounts based on women's stages of life. The use of hormone replacement therapy, I guess that's bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and hormone contraceptives can also, over time, further reduce the body's already low hormone production, further exacerbating the original symptoms when stopped, and importantly, does little to correct or address the underlying causes. And you've got references to that statement right there. That's the same thing that I've learned with thyroid medication, that when you take thyroid medication, you downregulate the mechanism that makes thyroid hormone. So you have to increase your thyroid medication. And then when you increase your thyroid medication, you downregulate your thyroid hormone even more. And after about 7 years is what I was taught, that you pretty much have taken your own body's ability to make thyroid hormone away, and now you're 100% reliant on that. So that's exactly what this is saying right here, that these hormone replacement over time further reduce the body's already low hormone production. So you're having low hormone production, and that's the question of why. Why is your body not getting what it needs? And what did women do? What did women do before 1960? From the beginning of mankind, what do 50-year-old women do from the beginning of mankind up until 1960, 1970, 1980, right? Because we think that's like, well, everyone has to have hormone replacement. Like, and talk to your medical doctor about it. I'm not a hormone replacement guy, so I'm just talking to you about health, but I'm talking to you about health philosophy a little bit, because we just jump right into it saying that's exactly the direction we need to go. And, well, for some reason, it doesn't need to happen in my house, and I'm not in charge of it. Leslie could do whatever she wants to. She's a grown woman, right? So I'm not in charge of whether or not she does hormone replacement or not, but she hasn't done any of that. Nor does she take Tylenol and Advil. I don't know how many. I bet she hadn't taken in the last, because I've had one Advil in the last 24 years. Matter of fact, it's March again, right? So it's been 24 years since I finally figured out what a subluxation is, and it's somewhere in the middle of this month is my anniversary of learning, of getting introduced into chiropractic. And so it's been 24 years that I've been doing this, and I've had Tylenol. I've had Tylenol once, and I've had Advil once, and I don't really have any idea how many times she's had that, but not very much. Leslie hasn't taken hardly any medication at all, and she's doing better than she's ever done in her whole life. I mean, she's fit, she's working out, she's gaining muscle mass. She's gaining muscle mass in her 50s. She's doing great in her workouts. We worked out this morning. She still beats me in some of those moves, and so she's doing great. So you can live differently if you want to. You can live well if you want to, right? And then tomorrow is 2 years since we've had any sugar. So she's had very, very little, because she has a little bit more discipline than I have. But you don't have to. There's no sense in it, right? And so it'll be interesting. I think we're going to go get her blood work done in the morning, just because it's the 2-year anniversary, and I just kind of want to see where I am. And I'll share that with you as soon as I get that information back, so that you guys can know the same thing. So, but that's a thought right there that maybe you haven't thought. So, addressing the root cause of hormone imbalance. No dietary supplement had ever been shown in published clinical trials statistically significant improvements in hormone levels in peri and postmenopausal women. However, that changed in 2005 with the publication of clinical research into a novel ingredient called Maca-GO, commercially known as Feminescence Pro. Instead of introducing hormones into the body in various amounts through one or more delivery systems, or introducing a drug to reduce a hormone's production, Feminescence Pro favorably modulates the hypothalamus pituitary thyroid adrenal ovarian axis to support the body's own hormone production. This process can include increasing and decreasing the production of different hormones based on individual needs. Because of these groundbreaking published results, an abstract of the research was published in Menopause, the medical journal to the North American Menopause Society, the largest organization of its kind in the world. Additionally, Symphony Natural Health, the company responsible for bringing Feminescence Pro to the market, was the first natural product company allowed to exhibit at the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and the first recommended by the American Menopause Foundation. The purpose of the paper is to provide a scientific background to Lepidium, peruvium, and to report the key findings of the preclinical, pharmaceutical, and human clinical trials using a concentrated, bioavailable Lepidium peruvium formulation, Macageo, for peri and post menopausal women. So, we propose the use of Macageo as a natural option that truly addresses the root cause of menopause transition to manage symptoms and support heart, bone, and mental health. So this Lepidium, Lepidium, and for those of you who don't know it, all the rest of you, you probably already know it. Commonly known as the pepper grasses or pepperworts, is a genus of plant in the mustard family. In 2023, the World Flora Online reports that there are 249 species of Lepidium. One of them, Walpers, is one of the species that was first identified in 1843 and is native to northwest Argentina, Bolivia, Peru, and North Chile. In 1990, Gloria Chacon de Popovici, I didn't get that at all, a Peruvian botanist, was responsible for bringing the recognition of Lepidium peruvium Chacon to the botanical world after years of researching. And these other Lepidiums, a wild-growing maca plant, where Lepidium peruvium is a cultivated maca plant native to Peru that originated with the Inca origin. So it gives us some history about that right here. I'm going to skip down in a little bit. This Lepidium peruvium is one of about 29 identified Lepidium species that grows in the Andes. It has been well known for its fertility-enhancing properties, energizing effects, and high nutritional value. Reported medicinal properties and energizing effects of this substance are linked to the unique composition of this plant cultivated exclusively in the central Peruvian Andes at 12 to 14,000 feet under harsh natural conditions, exposed to the full spectrum of solar radiation, low humidity, and extreme temperature changes. So certain plants grow in certain places, right? Like there's certain thresholds that it takes to create something, like a diamond, right? It takes some pressure. It takes some pressure to make a diamond. It's not something that just appears. So maybe they're onto something with this, because I'm telling you, it works good. Beneficial properties were first linked to alkaloids identified in the 1960s by Dr. Chacon, and she studied this for her PhD thesis. So I want to get down here. It gives all the history of all of it. It talks about significant higher concentrations of the active constituents are present in maca from Junin and Ancash growing locations in Peru than those cultivated in China. Of note, researchers also found variations in the level of active constituent based on the altitude and the two different geographic location crops were grown within Peru. So there is a difference, but it does give us some down here at the bottom. It goes way through this whole thing. The analysis measure, let's see, to demonstrate the potency of maca was compared to a 10 to 1 concentration maca extract from the U.S. and a 4 to 1 maca extract from Europe, both of which supersede raw maca powder and gelatinized maca. Amino acids. The analysis measures all essential and non-essential amino acids. That's not going to get into that. I wanted to come down here with because they've got some clinical trials. There we go. And 2 pilot studies were completed. One included perimenopausal women, and the second included early postmenopausal women. The aim of both studies was to assess the use of Macageo for alleviating menopausal symptoms and its impact on hormones and cardiovascular markers. 20 perimenopausal women aged 41 to 50 were enrolled. of which 18 completed the 4-month double-blind crossover randomized pilot study. Women were assigned to 2 groups receiving either 2 months of placebo, which was sorbitol and cellulose, followed by 2 months of maca, 2 grams a day, followed by 2 months of placebo. Blood samples were drawn at admission and each month thereafter. 2 months of maca resulted in significant increase in estradiol, significant increase in FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, significant increase in progesterone, significant increase in ACTH. Cardiovascular markers, significant increase in HDL cholesterol, significant reduction in body weight, reduction in blood pressure and triglycerides. Menopausal symptoms, significant decrease in menopausal symptoms as assessed by this specific index, with most improvements noted as reducing hot flashes, night sweats, heart palpitations, nervousness, disrupted sleep, and depression. Postmenopausal. This pilot study consisted of 2 trials. 20 early menopausal women aged 45 to 62 were enrolled in trial 1, in which maca-GO was taken for 2 months. 8 women aged 45 to 62 were enrolled in trial 2, in which maca was taken for 8 months. Both groups began the trial taking 1 month of a placebo. Hormones, significantly increase in progesterone, significant increase in luteinizing hormone, LH, significant decrease in FSH after 2 months and 8 months of use, significant increase in LH after 2 months and 8 months of use, significant increase in progesterone after 8 months of use, significant increase in estradiol after 2 and 8 months of use. Menopausal symptoms, 75% reported noticeable reduction in menopausal symptoms as assessed by this green menopausal score. Significant reduction in menopausal symptoms as assessed by this green menopausal score. So, and another one down here at the bottom, I just thought this was really good because here's your hormone stuff that you, and it shows where it's good, but it's also showing your cardiovascular markers, and it's showing you that you're doing well with your cardiovascular markers. You're decreasing your LDLs, you're decreasing your triglycerides, you're decreasing your total cholesterol, and those symptoms right there. But there was also down here, there was another one that was talking about bone density, because that's a big one I think people are that worry about is bone density. So baseline 4 months, increase maca-GO, increase bone density over baseline, increased bone density over baseline, total bone density still increased. So it's just some of the things that maybe they're interesting to you, maybe they're not interesting to you, but I've known what it's done in our own home, and so I just wanted to share that with you. In case you haven't heard it before, I just wanted to share it with you. So that's all I want to talk about with the Feminescence Maca Life. It's great stuff so far that I can tell, and it's really helped Leslie get through these last couple of years. And so, these trials aren't with thousands of people, but I can't speak for thousands of people, but I can tell you that it's been effective for us. So that is that, and that is that. So I want to show you one more thing. I did some of this today, and I don't know if I've showed you these dolphins before, but this is for scars. And I don't know if I've showed you these little dolphins on the show, but I'm going to show you again tonight just in case, because we've used these scars on like anytime you have a scar, and I think we've talked about this, but anytime you have a scar, your body's going to use metals. It's going to use heavy metals to help heal that scar. So whenever you cut the skin, you're cutting the nerve, and you've got very small unmyelinated nerve fibers that are in that scar. And then you're going to put some sort of metal in that scar, like lead or aluminum or whatever is in your body. And then you're going to try to make that tissue really tough. So one of the things that we do, I got this from Dr. Fraley, and he's done some studies on it. I think that we did talk about it, but um, is these little dudes here. You put set one to positive, you set one to negative, and then you can work right over the top of that scar, and you can push some of those metals out. And he did some study in his office with the pupillary light reflex, and um, and saw some significant changes in with the results of how the brain was processing after the scars. And he's mentioned it multiple times. He mentioned it again last weekend when I was up there, when he talked about having some weird pains that people were having that went away after they did the dolphin work on the scars. Like one guy's foot or ankle or something, and he'd been taking care of him for several weeks or maybe a couple months, whatever. And he tried everything to try to get his foot to quit hurting. And he decided one day to use the dolphins on it. He said, "You got any scars on your body?" And so he treated the scars with the dolphins, and the guy's foot quit hurting. It's crazy. I know it's crazy, but when you see those type of things, so we have used them a lot, and that's why I brought them on the show tonight, because of women with C-sections that messes up. There's a lot of stuff that goes on right there so with the muscles and with the scarring of the C-sections. I used it today on a lady who was having foot pain, and I wanted to clear. She's had double knee replacements, and so we used it with her on the double knee replacements today, and so she was better when she left. I'll call her here after the show's over and check on her and see how she's doing. But that's what I was doing. But the reason I brought him on the show tonight was because talking about some of the women's issues. If you've had a C-section and you're having trouble with the muscles in the pelvic floor and all that sort of thing, there's some AMIT techniques that we can do to help with that, and the dolphin. And so one of my ladies is a runner. She's had 2 kids, and she loves to run, and she was having some trouble and when she ran, and we did that combination of the AMIT and the dolphin together, and she's just elated with the results. It's been super great for her. She's really has enjoyed that. So that's what I wanted to talk about with the dolphins. Another thing I wanted to show tonight is we get a lot of ladies that are pregnant that come get adjusted, and I adjusted one today actually, and so I just wanted to show you this article right here that just talks about chiropractic care for the pregnant body, and this was done in clinical obstetrics. I can't even speak. Obstetrics. Clinical obstetrics and gynecology. Yes, September 2021. So this is an MD, a DO, and a DC that got together. This article provides an evidence-based review of the epidemiology of chiropractic use in I can't even say that word. Commonly treated conditions, related physiology of pregnancy, and safety of spinal manipulation. It cites 52 references, and it talks about low back pain. It talks about musculoskeletal pain is exceedingly common in pregnancy, with 45 to 70% of pregnant patients reporting back on pelvic issues. It talks about the different kinds of pregnancy. The non-pharmacological therapies to relieve pain are increasingly important during pregnancy because of the opioid epidemic, of course. Chiropractic care is commonly used to treat modalities for musculoskeletal pain in pregnancy. Chiropractic treatment is one of the most potential therapies that offers intervention without medications. Chiropractic care most often refers to spinal manipulation, but can include a variety of adjunctive medical therapies, not medical therapies, chiropractic care therapies, in the treatment of musculoskeletal and neurological disorders. During spinal manipulation, chiropractors use their hands or instruments to apply a controlled sudden force to a spinal joint very, very lightly and very controlled. We talked about a little bit of that when we were talking about with Chaley. Chiropractic care amongst the general U.S. population is extremely common and has increased dramatically from 5% in 2008 to 24% in 2012. But we take care of a lot of pregnant ladies, and we try to help them and get through pregnancy, and we take care of lots of babies. And we've got some really good reports, really good things going on with the babies. We've got a little guy right now that's having some challenge. I sent him over to Katie and Roswell, and she sent me back some stuff that we should do because she specializes in moms and babies, and we've been working with him, and he's been doing really good. He's showing great improvement, and his mom said this week that she 100% believes it's the chiropractic care that's helped him. They went to their pediatrician, and he got a great report. He's gotten he's eating, his weight's getting back up. He can go to solid foods now, all that sort of thing. And he said, his mom told me, I just really believe that the chiropractic care, I've seen the difference after he gets adjusted. And so the chiropractic care had a lot to do with his improvement. So yes, we know that. I'm glad the mom knows that. She's a great chiropractic patient anyway, but she's seen it firsthand about how it functions at her home. So that's something for you right there about pregnancy that you can take with you. A quick one right here that you guys might want to know if you are pregnant. Here's an article that talks about our favorite subject, and that's Tylenol, acetaminophen. So acetaminophen use during pregnancy, a call for precautionary action. Nature Review Endocrinology, September 23rd, 2021. And just basically says, concerns about the safety of acetaminophen in relation to urogenital and reproductive effects have not been addressed in reviews by government authorities such as the FDA or obstetric and gynecological associations. So key point, increasing experimental and epidemiological research suggests that prenatal exposure to acetaminophen might alter fetal development, which could increase the risk of some neurodevelopment, reproductive, and urogenital disorders. So that's a quick one that I wanted to hit right there. Just be careful with that. Like, it's not something, you should stay away from that if you're pregnant, according to these people in this article right here, and I totally agree with them. There's just it's not good for you. Acetaminophen is not good for you. So I've got one more minute. The one thing I wanted to show you quickly before we go is this little slide right here, because I want you to see it one more time. This slide right here. This is anti-inflammatory properties of diet, role in healthy aging. And we might hit this again next week. But just remember, when you eat arachidonic, when you eat omega-6s, high omega-6 foods, you end up with arachidonic acid. The COX enzyme and the LOX enzymes take that down to series 2 and series 4 prostaglandins and leukotrienes, and you end up with inflammation. When you have EPA from fish oil and omega-3 fatty acids, you end up with series 3 and series 5, and you get anti-inflammatory product. So there definitely is a difference between the two, and eating a low inflammatory diet with high omega-3s is super great for you. That's all the time I have tonight. I really appreciate you guys. I hope some of this was helpful, and I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday night at 6 o'clock. Have a great weekend.